Hello, I'm here with you guys again today to bring another episode of Can My Cricut Do That? So today we will go into Design Space and we are going to create a shaker card, and then tomorrow we will put it together. So here we are in Design Space, and one of the first things that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a square, and I am going to unlock the key proportions of this square, and I am going to make this 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 because I am going to make a 5 by 7 card. So this will essentially be the front panel of our card. Now, if you're like me, you like multiple layers, then you can do another layer like you see me doing here that is 4.5 by 6.5. So now that we have both of those, I will change the color so we can see the difference. And of course, yes, I do purple. Of course I'm doing purple because that's just my life. And then you're also going to see that I'm going to bring in two 4.5 by 6.5 pieces that are that gray. That is going to be acetate for us. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 4.5 by 6.5 piece and I'm going to put it at the 1 by 1 on the X and the Y coordinates. And I am going to now bring in a score line. Now the score line is going to be changed to a cut line. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to be just 1/4 of an inch. And I am going to move that to the 1 1/4 inch placement on the X axis and the 1 inch on the Y axis. So everything on this one is going to stay at the 1 inch mark on the Y axis. And what we're going to end up doing here is we are going to start duplicating that score line that we've now changed to a cut line, and we're going to move it over. So as you can see, it moves by 1/2 inch every time. So I'm having to move the Y axis back. And then I am going to move it an additional 1/4 inch each time on the X axis. So I started at 1.25, then I went to 1.5, then I went to 1.75, and now I'm going to 2. And I continue to do that. So my X is moving by 1/4 of an inch. My Y is staying in the same place because I want all of these lines to line up at the top, and I want to space them out by 1/4 of an inch going across the top. So your X is moving you left to right and your Y moves you up and down. So as you can see, I've gone through the entire size of the card, creating a 1/4 inch cut mark in every place. Now I'm going to grab all of those and duplicate all of them. Here I am going to now bring all of those cut marks down to the bottom. So essentially I'm creating cut marks at the top and the bottom of my card base. And I'm going to line them up so they're in the same placement at the top and the bottom. Once I have created all of those cut lines, I'm going to grab everything and now I'm going to attach it. So that's going to ensure that the cut lines actually cut on the paper. So now I have all of those pieces completed. Now that is the front of my card, then that is my panel and my 2 acetate pieces. Now I'm going to make a piece that is going to be 10 by 7, and this is going to be our actual card base. And here I initially made it 10 by 5, and I'll fix that in just a second. I'm going to bring in a score line, and that score line is going to be at the 5 inch mark, and I'm going to make that score line 7 inches long so it goes the entire portion of the card base. So once I've done that, then I'm going to attach that score line to the card base. So now you see I have my card base, I have my initial panel, and I'm just trying to ensure that I have it lined up where I want it to be, which would be about an 1/8 of an inch of a border around the entire card base. Once I have that in there, my next thing is going to be to bring in the panel that I've cut all of the cut marks in, and to center that just to make sure that I have it all sized the way that I want it to be. So now that I have everything done, I know that I want to make some grass and some clouds for the card that I'm going to create. So I'm just going in and looking at some images and pulling out a image an image of some grass. I'm going to size that down to the size that I want it to be. And I only am going to end up using the very front portion of the grass. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to look for some clouds. I want to create, this is going to be like a rain shaker card. So I wanted to create some nice fun clouds. And here you see that those clouds were outlined. I'm just using the contour button in order to bring the shadows back in to make them whole clouds versus outline clouds. I'm going to change those to white, and then I'm going to flip them because I'm going to want them to be coming down. I'm going to contour again, and this will help me to separate those clouds because they came in as one image. That was the reason that I duplicated it and then deleted one of them. So now I'm just going to kind of start to situate the clouds and duplicate it until I get the number of clouds that I want in my image. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to cut these out in white. I'm going to cut the grass out in white as well so that I can do some ink blending to get my clouds the colors that I want them to be. So you can see we have our clouds that are going to cut out, the grass that's going to cut out, the card base, the card panels, our rain shaker panel, and 2 pieces of acetate. And then I'm going to bring in a couple of stamp sets to finish off my scene for my card. So we have everything put together here. It's looking really close to the way that I want it to look. The last thing that I'm doing is I'm going in and I'm looking for a sentiment. Sometimes I can find a sentiment that I want in the images. Sometimes I have to write it out myself. However, when it comes to sentiments like thanks and things like that, I usually can find what I'm looking for. So I found a thanks that I liked. And of course, you know, I love my chipboard feel. So I have to duplicate that multiple times so that I can stack them all up. And you know, my last one will be a piece of vinyl because I love the look of vinyl as the top layer of my sentiment. So we're going to go in and we're going to save this, and that will be it for today. Remember to come back and join me tomorrow as we put this together and we can see what all we come up with. So I will look forward to seeing you guys then. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.